Welcome back to Fiction Flux, everyone. Today, we're kicking off an exciting new fanfic that's sure to spark your imagination. Picture this: what if Izumi Midoriya got her hands on the Omnitrix from Ben 10? A quirkless dreamer turned cosmic powerhouse, blending the heart of My Hero Academia with the wild versatility of alien transformations. Let's not waste any time, buckle up and get ready, because we're diving straight into this epic adventure. Izumi Midoriya had always dreamed of being a hero. Born without a quirk in a world where nearly everyone possessed some kind of extraordinary power, she faced constant ridicule and doubt. But her heart burned with determination, inspired by her idol, All Might, the symbol of peace. She spent her days analyzing heroes, scribbling notes in her worn-out notebook, and imagining what it would be like to save people with a smile. Little did she know, her life was about to take a turn no one could have predicted, not even her meticulous mind. It was a sweltering summer afternoon when Izumi found herself wandering through a junkyard on the outskirts of Musafu. She wasn't looking for trouble, just scavenging for parts to tinker with, something to keep her hands busy while her mind wrestled with her latest rejection from yet another hero training program. Her green hair stuck to her sweaty forehead, and her freckled cheeks were smudged with dirt as she kicked a rusted can out of her way. That's when she saw it, a glint of something metallic buried under a pile of scrap. Curiosity piqued, Izumi scrambled over the debris, her small frame slipping through the mess until she unearthed a strange, circular device. It looked like a watch, but not like any she'd ever seen. Its face was black with a glowing green hourglass symbol, and its band seemed to hum with an energy she couldn't quite place. What is this?" she muttered, brushing her fingers over its surface. The moment she did, the device sprang to life, its core popping up with a holographic display of alien silhouettes. Izumi yelped, dropping it in shock, but before she could back away, the watch launched itself onto her wrist, clamping down with a mechanical click. She tugged at it, panic rising in her chest. No, get off." A voice, calm, synthetic, and oddly cheerful, chimed from the device. "User DNA confirmed. Omnitrix activated. Please select transformation." Izumi froze, her wide green eyes darting between the watch and the junkyard around her. "Transformation? What are you talking about? I don't even know what you are." Before she could process further, a rustling sound came from behind a pile of scrap. She spun around just in time to see a hulking figure emerge, a villain, his body crackling with electricity, his sneer revealing jagged teeth. He'd clearly been hiding out here, and Izumi had stumbled right into his territory. Well, he growled, static sparking off his fingertips. "A little lost lamb. Too bad for you, kid, I don't like trespassers." Izumi's heart pounded. She didn't have a quirk. She didn't have anything, except this weird watch that wouldn't come off. The villain lunged, and in a blind panic, she slammed her hand down on the Omnitrix's core. A surge of green light engulfed her, and her body began to shift. When the light faded, Izumi wasn't Izumi anymore. She was taller, her skin now a molten orange red, with cracks of glowing lava running across her form. Her hair had turned into a roaring flame atop her head, and heat radiated from her in waves. She stared at her hands, now clawed and smoldering, and gasped, her voice deep and crackling. What am I? Name: Heat Blast. The Omnitrix chimed helpfully. Pyronite species. Capabilities include pyrokinesis, enhanced strength, and heat resistance. The villain hesitated, clearly thrown off by the sudden transformation, but he recovered quickly, hurling a bolt of electricity at her. Instinct kicked in, Izumi thrust her hands forward, and a torrent of fire erupted from her palms, meeting the lightning midair in a dazzling explosion. The force sent the villain stumbling back, and Izumi seized her chance. With a leap she didn't know she could make, she launched herself at him, slamming a fiery fist into his chest. He crumpled to the ground, unconscious, as the junkyard smoldered around them. Panting, Izumi stared at her hands, then at the defeated villain. I did it. I actually did it." A grin spread across her fiery face, until the Omnitrix beeped, and in another flash of light, she was back to her human self, sprawled on the ground. Word of the junkyard incident spread quickly. A mysterious, fire girl, had taken down a lowlife villain, and rumors swirled through Musafu. Izumi, meanwhile, hid the Omnitrix under her sleeve, her mind racing with possibilities. She'd always wanted to be a hero, but this was something else entirely. 10 alien forms, each with unique powers, all at her fingertips. She could feel it. This was her chance to prove herself. Her first real test came sooner than she expected. Days later, during a routine walk home from school, she heard screams echoing from a nearby shopping district. Rushing to the scene, she found a massive sludge villain wreaking havoc, his oozing body engulfing a blonde boy with spiky hair, Katsuki Bakugo, her childhood friend turned tormentor. Hiro stood by, helpless, unable to act without risking Bakugo's life. Izumi's legs trembled. She could hear Bakugo's muffled shouts, see the desperation in his eyes. Memories of his cruelty flashed through her mind, years of being called, Deku, useless, weak. But then she remembered All Might's words from a video she'd watched 1,000 times, a true hero runs toward danger, no matter the cost. Asterisk. Her hand found the Omnitrix. She twisted the dial, cycled through the holograms, and slammed it down. Green light flared, and this time, she became something new, a hulking, four-armed behemoth with red skin and a roar that shook the street. 4 arms, the watch announced. The crowd gasped as Izumi, now a towering Tetraman, charged forward. With 2 fists, she grabbed the sludge villain's tendrils, yanking them away from Bakugo. With the other 2, she pummeled the gooey mass, her strength sending shockwaves through the pavement. The villain howled, trying to envelop her, but Izumi's sheer power tore through him, scattering his form into helpless puddles. Bakugo stumbled free, coughing and glaring at her. "Who the hell are you?" he snarled, his pride clearly bruised. Izumi, still in her alien form, froze. She couldn't let him know it was her, not yet. "Just a hero," she rumbled, then bolted before the Omnitrix timed out, leaving Bakugo and the onlookers stunned. The incident with the sludge villain changed everything. Izumi began training in secret, testing each of the Omnitrix's forms, XLR8's a blinding speed, Diamond Head's unbreakable crystal body, Ghost Freak's eerie intangibility. Each transformation brought new challenges, the device's random timeouts, the strain on her body, the overwhelming power she struggled to control. But it also brought hope. She wasn't quirkless anymore. She was something more. Her secret couldn't stay hidden forever, though. During UA High's entrance exam, Izumi faced a crisis that forced her hand. A massive zero-pointer robot loomed over a trapped examinee, a girl with gravity-defying powers named Ochako Uraraka. With no time to think, Izumi activated the Omnitrix, transforming into Homungosaur, a towering dinosaur-like alien, and smashed the robot to pieces, saving Ochako in the nick of time. The crowd of examinees stared, whispering. Teachers watching from the observation room leaned forward, intrigued. All Might himself, hidden among them, narrowed his eyes. "That's no quirk I've ever seen," he murmured. When Izumi reverted to her human form, panting and exposed, the truth came out. She expected rejection. UA was strict about its rules, and this alien tech wasn't a quirk. But to her shock, Principal Nezu invited her to join, citing her ingenuity and bravery as heroic traits beyond measure. Life at UA was a whirlwind. Izumi's classmates, Bakugo, Todoroki, Iida, and the rest, were a mix of odd, suspicious, and competitive. Bakugo, especially, couldn't stand her sudden power, demanding to know where that damn watch came from. Izumi kept her lips sealed, but the Omnitrix's origins gnawed at her. Where had it come from? Why her? The answer came during a training exercise gone wrong. A portal ripped open in the sky above the school, and out stepped a figure clad in alien armor, Vilgax, a warlord from beyond the stars. His voice boomed as he fixed his gaze on Izumi. "The Omnitrix belongs to me, child. Surrender it, or your world burns." Panic erupted, but Izumi stood her ground, her hand on the watch. She'd spent her life feeling powerless. Now, she had the power to protect everyone she cared about. Cycling to Alien X, a celestial being of unimaginable might, she faced Vilgax head-on. The battle shook the city, reality itself bending under Alien X's power, but Izumi's will, her unshakable dream of being a hero, guided her through. In the end, Vilgax retreated, vowing revenge. Izumi collapsed, human again, surrounded by her stunned classmates and teachers. All Might approached her, his smile wide. "Young Midoriya," he said, "you've got the heart of a hero, and now, the strength to match it." Izumi blushed, clutching the Omnitrix. She didn't know what lay ahead: more villains, more aliens, more secrets. But for the first time, she felt ready. She wasn't just Deku anymore. She was a hero, one watch tick at a time. The weeks following Vilgax's attack were a blur for Izumi. UA tightened its security, and the teachers drilled the students harder than ever, aware that threats beyond their world were now in play. Izumi, though, couldn't shake the weight of the Omnitrix on her wrist. It wasn't just a tool, it was a beacon, drawing danger to her and everyone around her. She spent sleepless nights hunched over her desk, researching alien tech online and scouring X posts for any hint of Vilgax or the Watch's origins. Nothing concrete turned up, but the questions gnawed at her. Who made this thing? Why did it choose her? Her classmates noticed the change. Ochako, ever perceptive, caught Izumi doodling Omnitrix symbols in her notebook during a break. "Hey, Izumi, you okay? You've been kinda spacey lately," she said, tilting her head with a worried smile. Izumi stammered, shoving the notebook under her desk. "Why yeah, just, thinking about training." Ochako didn't push, but her concern lingered in the air. Bakugo, on the other hand, wasn't so gentle. He cornered Izumi after a sparring session, his palm still smoking from his explosions. "Oi, Deku, you think that freaky watch makes you better than me? I'll blow it off your damn wrist." His words stung, but Izumi saw the flicker of frustration in his eyes. He hated being outdone, especially by her. She clenched her fists, meeting his glare. "It's not about being better, Kachan. It's about saving people." He scoffed and stormed off, but she knew he'd be watching her every move. Training with the Omnitrix became Izumi's obsession. She'd slip away to secluded spots, the forest near UA, abandoned lots, testing her. Aliens one by one. Upgrade let her fuse with tech, turning a busted radio into a pulsing sound cannon. Stinkfly's aerial agility had her weaving through trees, dodging imaginary foes. But the Watch's unpredictability kept her on edge. Sometimes it'd lock her out mid-fight, leaving her human and vulnerable. Other times, it'd pick an alien she didn't intend, like the time she meant to go XLR8 but ended up as Cannonbolt, barreling uncontrollably into a dumpster. All Might took a special interest in her progress. During one late-night session, he found her practicing with Ripjaws, her aquatic form thrashing in a training pool. "Young Midoriya," he called, his voice warm but firm. "That device, it's a gift, but it's also a burden. You're not just carrying its power, you're carrying its consequences." Izumi reverted to human form, water dripping from her hair as she nodded. "I know, All Might. But if I can use it to help people, isn't that what being a hero is about?" He smiled, but his eyes held a shadow of worry. "Just be careful. Power like that attracts more than just villains." His words proved prophetic. Not long after, during a class field trip to a high-tech research facility, alarms blared as drones swarmed the building. They weren't Earth-made, sleek, insect-like, and glowing with an eerie purple energy. They moved with purpose. A figure emerged from the chaos, a humanoid alien with a squid-like face and a commanding presence, Vilgax's lieutenant, Siphon. "The Omnitrix bearer," he hissed, his voice dripping with malice. "My master demands your surrender." Izumi's heart raced, but she didn't hesitate. Slamming the Omnitrix, she transformed into Diamond Head, her crystalline body gleaming as she shielded her classmates. "Get back," she shouted, firing razor-sharp shards at the drones. Todoroki unleashed a wave of ice, Iida sped to evacuate civilians, and Bakugo, grinning like a maniac, blasted his way into the fray. "Don't think you're stealing this fight, Deku," he yelled, explosions lighting up the room. The battle was brutal. Siphon's strength matched Diamond Head's, and his drones kept Izumi on the defensive. She switched forms, XLR8 to outmaneuver, then forearms to grapple, but the Omnitrix timed out mid-punch, leaving her human and exposed. Siphon seized her wrist, his grip crushing. "Pathetic. You don't deserve such power." Before he could rip the watch free, a sonic boom shook the facility. All Might crashed through the wall, his fist connecting with Siphon's face in a devastating smash. The alien reeled, retreating through a portal with a snarled promise, "This isn't over." As the dust settled, All Might helped Izumi up, his grin unwavering. "Nice teamwork, young Midoriya. But let's work on that timing, The encounter left Izumi shaken but resolute. She couldn't keep reacting, she needed answers. That night, she activated the Omnitrix's voice interface, something she'd avoided out of fear it'd draw more attention. "Omnitrix," she whispered, "where did you come from?" The response was curt, "Created by Azmuth, Galvan Genius, for interspecies unity. Crash landed on Earth. User selection, random." "Random," Izumi echoed, her voice small. She'd hoped for destiny, some grand purpose. But random or not, it was hers now. She thought of her mom, Inko, who'd cried tears of pride when Izumi got into UA, of Ochako's encouragement, Bakugo's rivalry, All Might's faith. The Omnitrix wasn't her quirk, it was her responsibility. Days later, a new threat loomed. A massive alien ship hovered over Musafu, broadcasting Vilgax's ultimatum, "Deliver the Omnitrix, or your city falls." The heroes mobilized, but Izumi knew this was her fight. With her classmates at her side, Bakugo reluctantly agreeing to blow up some squid. Freaks, she confronted Vilgax atop the ship. The showdown was epic. Izumi cycled through her aliens. Heat Blast's flames clashed with Vilgax's energy blasts. Ghost Freak phased through his attacks. Humongousaur traded earth-shaking blows. But Vilgax was relentless, pinning her down as the Omnitrix flickered, drained. "You're no hero," he sneered. "Just a child playing with a toy." Izumi's vision blurred, but she thought of everyone counting on her. With a final burst of will, she activated Alien X. Time froze, the battlefield silent as her celestial form rose. Vilgax's eyes widened, then narrowed in defeat as Izumi rewrote the moment, sending him and his ship hurtling into space. When she reverted, collapsing into Ochako's arms, the city cheered. Bakugo muttered, "Not bad, nerd," and All Might ruffled her hair. "You've got it, kid, the heart and the power." Izumi smiled, exhausted but triumphant. The Omnitrix beeped, recharging, a reminder of the battles ahead. She didn't know what else waited out there, but she'd face it, not as Deku, not as a quirkless dreamer, but as a hero with the universe in her hands. The victory over Vilgax didn't bring the peace Izumi had hoped for. Sure, Musafu celebrated her as the alien hero, plastering her transformations across news feeds and X posts, but the weight of the Omnitrix only grew heavier. She'd sent Vilgax packing, but his parting glare promised he'd be back, and he wouldn't be alone. The universe, it seemed, had taken notice of her, and not all of it was friendly. At UA, life marched on with its usual chaos. Classes pushed her limits, from Aizawa's grueling combat drills to Midnight's quirk ethics lectures, though Izumi's quirk left everyone scratching their heads. Her classmates adapted in their own ways. Todoroki, ever stoic, asked clinical questions about her alien's abilities, scribbling notes like she was a puzzle to solve. Iida lectured her on the proper documentation of extraterrestrial technology, waving his arms with robotic precision. Ochako just grinned, floating a pencil over to her desk. "You're like a whole hero team in one, Izumi. So cool." Bakugo, predictably, was less impressed. He'd taken to challenging her every chance he got, explosions rocking the training grounds as he snarled, "Let's see if that watch can keep up with me." Their spars were brutal, XLR-8 dodging blasts, Diamond Head tanking hits, but Izumi noticed something new in his eyes. It wasn't just anger anymore, it was respect, buried deep under layers of pride. She didn't call it out, Bakugo would have blown a gasket, but it fueled her to push harder. Outside school, the world was shifting. Reports trickled in of strange sightings, glowing ships in the countryside, cryptic symbols etched into fields. Izumi scoured the web and X for clues, her fingers flying across her laptop. One post caught her eye, a blurry photo of a green-skinned alien tinkering with a wrecked car, captioned, "Saw this guy near Tokyo. Fixed my engine, then vanished." #alien invasion. The Omnitrix chimed when she showed it the image. Species, Galvan. Non-hostile. Likely a stray. A stray. From where? Her questions found answers, or more mysteries, during a routine patrol with Class 1A. A distress call led them to a warehouse district, where they found a firefight in progress. Not between villains and heroes, but between two alien factions. On one side, crab-like creatures with laser cannons, Vulcanus drones, the Omnitrix identified. On the other, a lone figure, a small, frog-like alien with goggles, wielding a gadget that spat electric nets. He was losing, badly. Izumi didn't hesitate. Slamming the Omnitrix, she became Stinkfly, buzzing into the fray with a spray of slime that gunked up the drone's weapons. Todoroki froze their legs. Bakugo blasted them apart, and within minutes, the fight was over. The little alien hopped forward, eyeing Izumi with wide, curious eyes. Omnitrix. Here. Fascinating. His voice was high-pitched, rapid-fire. Name's Azmuth. First thinker of Galvan Prime. That's my creation you're wearing, kid. Izumi's jaw dropped, reverting to human form mid-gawk. You made this. Why's it on Earth? Why me? Azmuth sighed, adjusting his goggles. Long story. Meant it for a diplomat, not a, what are you, a larva. Human youngling. Bah, doesn't matter. Ship crashed, watch picked you. Random, but you're doing all right, better than most, I'll give you that. The revelation hit her like a truck. The creator of the Omnitrix, standing right there, critiquing her like she'd botched a math test. Before she could ask more, a portal flared behind Azmuth, and he groaned. Vilgax's goons tracked me. Time to go. Keep that thing safe, kid, it's more than a toy. He tossed her a small device, a glowing orb, then vanished through the rift. Back at UA, Izumi examined the orb with all might and Nezu. It hummed, projecting a hologram of Azmuth's voice. Omnitrix upgrade module. Unlocks new forms, stabilizes glitches. Use wisely. Nezu's eyes gleamed. Fascinating. A self-evolving tool. All Might clapped her shoulder. Looks like you're growing with it, young Midoriya. The upgrade proved timely. Days later, a new threat descended, a towering, biomechanical beast called Malware, its body a shifting mass of black and yellow tendrils. It crashed into downtown Musafu, screeching about, reclaiming the Omnitrix's code. Izumi activated the orb, and the watch pulsed, adding a new alien to her roster, Feedback, a wiry creature with plug-like tendrils and an electric grin. The fight was electric, literally. Feedback absorbed Malware's energy blasts, firing them back in crackling arcs. Izumi danced through the chaos, her confidence surging with the stabilized Omnitrix. Her classmates joined in, Ochako nullifying debris, Todoroki freezing Malware's limbs, Bakugo blasting its core. Together, they wore it down, and Izumi delivered the final blow, overloading Malware with its own power until it collapsed into a smoking heap. Panting, Izumi reverted, her friends crowding around. That was insane. Kirishima cheered, slapping her back. You're unstoppable, Midoriya. Bakugo snorted, arms crossed. TCH. Took you long enough. But his smirk said more than his words. Recovery was short-lived. That night, alone in her dorm, Izumi woke to the Omnitrix glowing red. A hologram flickered, not Azmuth, but Vilgax, his face scarred from their last clash. You think you've won, girl. The Omnitrix is a key to power you can't fathom. I'm coming for it, and your little planet won't stand in my way. The message cut off, leaving Izumi staring into the dark. Her hands shook, but she clenched them into fists. She wasn't alone anymore, not with her friends, not with the Omnitrix. Vilgax wanted a war, she'd give him one. Training intensified, new forms like atomics and Jetray pushed her limits, each victory building her resolve. The universe was vast, terrifying, and hers to protect. She'd started as a quirkless dreamer, now, she was a hero rewriting the stars. The looming threat of Vilgax hung over Izumi like a storm cloud, but she refused to let it paralyze her. UA became her fortress, her classmates her army, and the Omnitrix her sword. She threw herself into preparation, determined to master every alien form and anticipate whatever Vilgax might throw at her next. The upgrade from Azmuth had stabilized the watch, but it also unlocked a deeper complexity. New aliens meant new weaknesses to learn, new strengths to harness. She couldn't afford mistakes. Her routine shifted. Mornings were spent in class, absorbing strategies from Aizawa and Present Mike, who'd taken to quizzing her on alien physiology like it was a pop quiz. Afternoons meant sparring, sometimes with Bakugo, whose relentless aggression sharpened her reflexes, sometimes with Todoroki, whose calm precision forced her to think 3 steps ahead. Evenings, she'd sneak off to test her aliens alone, the glow of the Omnitrix lighting up empty fields as she swapped between forms, Atomix's nuclear punches, Jetray's hypersonic dives, Wrath's feral fury. Each transformation felt like a piece of herself clicking into place, a puzzle she was still solving. Her friends noticed the intensity. During a late-night study session in the dorm common room, Ochako plopped down beside her, a tray of mochi in hand. "Izumi, you've got bags under your eyes bigger than my floaty bubbles. When's the last time you slept?" Izumi forced a smile, rubbing her neck. "I'm fine, really. Just, gotta be ready, you know." Ochako frowned, shoving a mochi into Izumi's mouth. "You're not fighting aliens alone, dummy. We're here too." The word stuck with her. She wasn't alone, not anymore. It was a comfort, but also a pressure. If Vilgax came, he wouldn't just target her, he'd target everyone she cared about. That fear drove her to confide in All Might one rainy afternoon, finding him in the teacher's lounge sipping tea in his skeletal form. "What if I can't protect them?" she blurted, clutching the Omnitrix. "What if this thing isn't enough?" All Might set his cup down, his blue eyes piercing despite his frail frame. "Power's only part of it, young Midoriya. You've got heart, more than I ever did at your age. That's what makes you dangerous to someone like Vilgax. He doesn't understand it." He coughed, then grinned. "Besides, you've got a team. Trust them like they trust you." His advice lingered as the inevitable arrived. It started with static on every screen in Musafu, TVs, phones, billboards, before Vilgax's face appeared, his voice a guttural roar. "Earthlings, your champion has defied me too long. Surrender the Omnitrix, or I raze your cities to ash." The feed cut to a fleet of warships descending from the sky, their hulls bristling with weapons. Panic erupted, civilians fleeing as heroes mobilized. UA's response was swift. Nezu coordinated with the pros, Endeavor, Hawks, Best Jeanist, while Class 1A geared up. Izumi stood before them in the courtyard, her voice steady despite the chaos. "This is my fight, but I can't do it alone. Will you help me?" Bakugo smirked, cracking his knuckles. "Like I'd let you hog the glory, Deku." Todoroki nodded, ice creeping up his arm. "We're with you." Ochako gave a thumbs up, and the rest chimed in, Kirishima's manly cheer, Tsuyu's calm assent, Ida's salute. The battle began in Musafu's heart. Vilgax's forces, drones, mutated soldiers, and a hulking enforcer named Kyber, poured from the ships, clashing with heroes across the city. Izumi took the lead, transforming into Homungosaur to smash through a wave of drones, her roars echoing over the screams. Bakugo flanked her, explosions ripping through the sky, while Todoroki's flames and ice carved a path for Ida to speed civilians to safety. Vilgax himself descended, his massive form dwarfing the skyline as he landed with a quake. "You've delayed the inevitable, girl," he snarled, energy whip crackling in his hand. Izumi met his gaze, slamming the Omnitrix to become Jetray. She darted around him, lasers streaking from her eyes, but Vilgax swatted her aside like a fly, sending her crashing through a building. Pain flared, but she rolled to her feet, switching to forearms. She grappled him, muscles straining as she landed blow after blow, only for Vilgax to hurl her back again. Her classmates rushed in, Ochako floating debris to pummel him, Kirishima tanking hits, Momo crafting cannons, but Vilgax's power was overwhelming. He grabbed Bakugo mid-explosion, slamming him into the ground with a sickening crunch. "Kachan!" Izumi screamed, rage overtaking fear. She cycled to Alien X, the world freezing as her celestial form rose. Time bent, Vilgax's movements slowing, but even Alien X struggled. Vilgax's will was a wall, resisting her reality-warping power. She rewound the moment, pulling Bakugo from harm, but the strain left her dizzy, the Omnitrix beeping a warning. Vilgax laughed, advancing. "You're weak. Your attachments make you frail." He raised a fist, energy coiling, then froze as All Might's voice boomed, "Not today, villain." A punch, fueled by OneForAll's embers, sent Vilgax reeling, giving Izumi a moment to breathe. She rallied, switching to feedback. Vilgax's energy attacks became her fuel, tendrils absorbing and redirecting them in blinding bursts. Her friends pressed the advantage, Tsuyu's tongue lassoing Vilgax's arm, Denki overloading his armor, Shoji grappling his legs. Together, they wore him down, Izumi channeling every ounce of feedback's power into a final blast that shattered Vilgax's chest plate. He staggered, portal opening behind him. "This isn't the end," he rasped, retreating as his fleet followed, ships vanishing into the sky. The city lay in ruins, but it stood. Cheers rose as Izumi reverted, collapsing into Ochako's arms. Bakugo, bruised but alive, muttered, "Don't get cocky, nerd." All Might limped over, grinning. "You did it, kid." Exhaustion hit, but so did pride. She'd faced the universe's worst and won, not alone, but with her team. The Omnitrix glowed softly, a quiet promise of more to come. Izumi smiled, looking at the stars. Whatever came next, she'd be ready, Earth's hero, one transformation at a time. The aftermath of Vilgax's invasion left Musafu scarred but unbroken. Smoke still curled from shattered buildings, and the streets buzzed with relief efforts, heroes, civilians, and even UA students pitching in to rebuild. Izumi threw herself into the work, using upgrade to repair damaged machinery and cannonbolt to clear rubble, her green hair plastered with sweat and dust. She didn't talk much, her mind replaying the battle, Vilgax's retreat, her friend's courage, the Omnitrix's limits. Victory felt fragile, like a borrowed moment before the next storm. Her classmates kept her grounded. Ochako floated supply crates alongside her, chattering about how, "Everyone's calling you the alien queen now." Kirishima flexed, boasting about their epic team-up, while Tsuyu riveted thoughtfully, "You looked scared, Izumi, but you didn't stop." That's what matters. Even Bakugo, hauling debris with a scowl, muttered, "Don't slack off, Deku. Next time, I'm taking that squid freak down myself." His grudging teamwork was as close to praise as she'd get, and it made her smile. The pros took notice too. Hawk swooped by one afternoon, tossing her a lazy salute. "Nice work, kid. That watch of yours is a game changer, don't let it go to your head." Endeavor, less tactful, grunted, "Powerful, but reckless. Rein it in before you burn out." Their words stuck with her, power wasn't enough, control was everything. Nights were harder. Alone in her dorm, Izumi stared at the Omnitrix, its green glow casting shadows on her All Might posters. Vilgax's threat echoed, "This isn't the end." She activated its interface, voice trembling. "Omnitrix, what does Vilgax want with you? What's the he talked about?" The response was clipped, data restricted. Purpose, interspecies unity, additional functions locked by creator. Frustration bubbled up, she was wielding a mystery, and it scared her. Answers came unexpectedly. During a cleanup shift, the air shimmered, and Azmuth reappeared, his tiny form perched on a broken lamppost. "You're still alive. Good," he said, hopping down. "Thought I'd check in, your planet's a mess." Izumi gaped, then bombarded him with questions. "Vilgax keeps coming back. What's he after? What's the Omnitrix really for?" Azmuth sighed, rubbing his temples. "Persistent, aren't you? Fine. The Omnitrix isn't just a transformation device, it's a genetic archive, a bridge between species. Vilgax wants it to dominate, not unite. He's obsessed with its potential to rewrite life itself." He tapped her wrist, and the watch beeped, projecting a hologram of countless alien DNA strands. "You've only scratched the surface, kid. Keep it out of his claws." Before she could press further, alarms blared across the city. A rift tore open downtown, spitting out Kyber, Vilgax's hunter, with a pack of snarling creatures, Zed, his shape-shifting pet, leading the charge. "The master sends his regards," Kyber sneered, whistle in hand. The beasts lunged, and Izumi reacted, transforming into wrath. "Let me tell ya something, creepy whistle guy." She roared, claws slashing. "You picked the wrong day." The fight spilled through the streets. Wrath's fury held Kyber's pack at bay, but Zed adapted, mimicking her moves. Izumi switched to Ghost Freak, phasing through attacks, then Diamond Head, pinning the beast with crystal spikes. Her classmates arrived, Bakugo blasting Kyber's armor, Todoroki freezing Zed's paws, Momo crafting traps. Kyber fought with precision, his whistle commanding Zed to counter every move, but Izumi's team was relentless. In the chaos, Kyber grabbed her, jamming a device onto the Omnitrix. It sparked, locking her in human form. A gift from Vilgax, he hissed, retreating through the rift. Panic surged, she couldn't transform. Back at UA, Nezu and Power Loader examined it, frowning. A dampener, Nezu said. Sophisticated. We'll need time to remove it. Days without the Omnitrix felt like losing a limb. Izumi trained harder, relying on her wits and stamina, but doubt crept in. What was she without it? All Might found her pummeling a punching bag, knuckles raw. It's not the watch that makes you a hero, he said softly. It's you. Always has been. She nodded, but the words felt hollow, until the next attack. A week later, the sky darkened as Vilgax returned, his fleet tripled in size. Without the Omnitrix, Izumi felt helpless, but her friends rallied. We've got this, Ochako said, squeezing her hand. The battle raged, heroes clashing with alien soldiers, UA students holding the line. Izumi directed strategy, her notebook knowledge guiding Bakugo's blasts and Todoroki's barriers, but Vilgax landed, zeroing in on her. You're nothing without it, he taunted, slamming her into the ground. Pain exploded, but she scrambled up, dodging his strikes with moves Aizawa had drilled into her. Her team fought to reach her, Hiroshima shielding, Denki frying drones, but Vilgax was unstoppable. He seized her wrist, the dampener gleaming. Time to end this. Then, a pulse. The Omnitrix flared, the dampener cracking as Azmuth's voice cut through, override activated. You're welcome. Green light engulfed her, and she became Chromastone, a crystalline titan absorbing Vilgax's energy. She fired it back, staggering him, then switched to Way Big, towering over the battlefield. With one massive kick, she sent Vilgax crashing into his ship, the fleet retreating in disarray. Cheers erupted as she reverted, trembling but triumphant. Her friends swarmed her, Bakugo smirking, took you long enough, Ochako hugging her tight. All Might grinned from the sidelines, and Azmuth, watching from a distance, nodded before vanishing. Later, under a starlit sky, Izumi sat with her team, the Omnitrix humming softly. Vilgax was beaten, but not gone. The universe was vast, its dangers endless. Yet, as laughter filled the air, Kaminari joking, Tsuyu ribbiting, Bakugo grumbling, she felt ready. She wasn't just the Omnitrix's bearer, she was Izumi Midoriya, hero of Earth, surrounded by the strength she'd always dreamed of. The fight wasn't over, but she'd face it, one alien at a time. The weeks after Vilgax's latest defeat settled into an uneasy calm. Musafu rebuilt, its people resilient but wary, their eyes occasionally flicking skyward as if expecting another invasion. Izumi felt the same tension coiling in her chest. The Omnitrix was back online, its dampener shattered, but Azmuth's cryptic interventions left her with more questions than answers. She couldn't shake the feeling that the watch was a Pandora's box. Every victory unlatched another layer of chaos she wasn't sure she could handle. UA adapted to the new normal. Nezu introduced extraterrestrial threat protocols, turning alien encounters into a curriculum staple. Aizawa grumbled through lectures on intergalactic combat tactics, his scarf twitching as he eyed Izumi. You're a magnet for trouble, Midoriya. Don't make my job harder. She blushed, muttering apologies, but his dry smirk told her he wasn't entirely serious. Her classmates leaned into it too. Momo crafted gadgets inspired by the Omnitrix's tech, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. If I could replicate even a fraction of its capabilities, she mused, sketching blueprints. Kaminari, less academic, begged Izumi to turn into something cool, for dorm pranks, until she accidentally went gray matter and rewired his gaming console into a sentient trivia bot. Not what I meant, he wailed as it quizzed him on hero law. Bakugo, meanwhile, doubled down on their rivalry. That watch doesn't make you special, he'd snap, explosions punctuating their spars. But when she countered with Jetray's speed or Wrath's brawling, he'd push harder, adapting mid-fight. It was exhausting, exhilarating, and oddly comforting. Bakugo's fire kept her sharp, a constant reminder she couldn't coast on alien power alone. The Omnitrix itself became her late-night obsession. She'd sit cross-legged on her bed, prodding its interface for clues. "Show me your full database," she'd demand, only for it to chirp, "Access restricted. Level 10 clearance required." "Who's level 10? She'd mutter, frustrated. "Azmuth," it replied once, unhelpfully. She started sketching its aliens anyway, known forms like Heatblast and new ones like Blocks, a blocky construct she'd stumbled into during training, piecing together what genetic archive might mean. The calm shattered during a class trip to Osaka. A festival was in full swing, lanterns glowing, stalls buzzing, when the ground quaked, and a colossal figure erupted from the earth. It wasn't Vilgax, but a new foe, a hulking, insectoid alien with mandibles dripping acid, Tetrax Shard, a rogue Petrosapian mercenary. "The Omnitrix," he bellowed, voice like grinding stone. "Hand it over, or this city's dust." Panic erupted, festival goers scattering as Class 1A sprang into action. Izumi transformed into Diamond Head, fitting, since Tetrax was the same species, and charged. Their crystalline bodies clashed, shards flying as she matched his brute strength. "Why do you want it?" she shouted, dodging an acid swipe. Tetrax grinned, jagged teeth gleaming. "Vilgax pays well. Plus, I'd rather wield it than smash it." Her team flanked him, Bakugo's blasts cratering the ground, Todoroki's ice encasing Tetrax's legs, Ochako floating his weapons out of reach. Izumi switched to XLR8, zipping around to disorient him, then forearms to grapple. Tetrax adapted, shattering her holds with sonic pulses, but she kept pushing, cycling through forms, stinkfly slime, upgrades tech fusion, until he faltered. In a desperate move, Tetrax hurled a device at her, a spiked orb that latched onto the Omnitrix mid-transformation. It beeped wildly, and she became something new, Echo, a small, sonic-powered alien. Instinct took over, she multiplied into clones, surrounding Tetrax with deafening shrieks that cracked his armor. Her friends seized the chance, Kirishima pummeling, Momo's cannons firing, and Tetrax collapsed, defeated. He snarled as a portal whisked him away. "This isn't over, kid." Back at UA, the orb puzzled Nezu. A hacking tool, he deduced, tail twitching. It forced a new form, intriguing. Izumi flexed her hand, echoes still ringing in her ears. "It's like it's testing me," she said. All Might, beside her, nodded. "Or preparing you." That preparation faced its next trial soon after. A distress signal hit UA, a rural village under attack by a swarm of robotic spiders, their red eyes glowing with malice. Izumi led the charge, transforming into Big Chill to freeze the swarm, her icy wings cutting through the night. But the spiders kept coming, guided by a figure in the shadows, Albedo, a Galvan-like Azmuth, but twisted with rage. "The Omnitrix should be mine." He spat, his own knockoff watch glowing red. The fight was personal. Albedo matched her form for form, Heat Blast against Heat Blast, Ghost Freak against Ghost Freak, his bitterness fueling every move. Azmuth's pet project, wasted on a human. He sneered. Izumi countered with blocks, her blocky body reforming around his attacks, then atomics, nuclear energy surging. Her classmates backed her, Bakugo blasting Albedo's duplicates, Suyu snaring his gadgets, but it was Izumi who landed the decisive blow, a radiant pulse that shattered his watch. Albedo fled, cursing, but left a warning: "The universe knows you now." "They're coming." Exhausted, Izumi reverted, her friends' cheers a distant hum. She looked at the Omnitrix, its glow steady but ominous. All Might approached, voice low. "You're not just fighting Vilgax anymore. You're a beacon, young Midoriya, for good and bad." That night, alone, she traced the watch's hourglass. Albedo, Tetrax, Vilgax, they all saw it as a prize. But to her, it was a promise, to protect, to unite, to prove a quirkless girl could stand with the stars. The universe was watching. Let it come, she'd meet it head-on, with her team, her will, and every alien she could muster. The encounters with Tetrax and Albedo left Izumi on edge, her nerves fraying like a worn thread. The Omnitrix wasn't just a tool anymore, it was a target, painting a bullseye on her back and everyone around her. She couldn't shake Albedo's parting shot. "They're coming." Who were they? More bounty hunters? Vilgax's allies? Something worse. Sleep eluded her, replaced by restless nights spent staring at the watch, its green glow a constant reminder of the stakes. UA doubled down on her training. Aizawa paired her with pros for simulations, Endeavor's flames testing Heatblast's limits, Hawks pushing XLR8's speed until she collapsed, panting. "You're good, kid," Hawks said, ruffling her hair, "but good ain't enough when the galaxy's gunning for you." She nodded, wiping sweat from her freckled face, and kept going. Failure wasn't an option. Her classmates adapted too. Momo and Iida formed a tactical alien response unit, drilling strategies for Izumi's forms, how to counter Wrath's temper, amplify Feedback's energy, protect Big Chill's frost. Ochako tagged along, her gravity tricks meshing with Jetray's dives in mock battles. Bakugo refused to join the nerd squad, but he'd still show up, blasting drones she'd spar with, growling, "Don't get sloppy, Deku." Their support anchored her, a lifeline in the storm. The storm broke during a quiet weekend. Izumi was at home, helping Inko with groceries, when the sky split open above their apartment. A fleet of sleek, obsidian ships descended, not Vilgax's, but something new. A voice boomed, cold and mechanical, "Omnitrix bearer, you are summoned. Resist, and your world pays." Inko clutched Izumi's arm, eyes wide. "Izumi, what's happening?" "I'll handle it, Mom," she said, voice steady despite her racing heart. She kissed Inko's forehead, then ran outside, slamming the Omnitrix. Way Big towered over the street, her massive form glaring up at the ships. "Who are you? What do you want?" she roared. A figure beamed down, tall, clad in black armor, with a face like molten metal shifting constantly. "I am Eon," he said, voice echoing. "Time's arbiter. The Omnitrix disrupts the continuum. Surrender it, or I erase your existence." Fear gripped her, but she stood firm. "Not happening." Eon's hand flared, and time warped, cars froze mid-motion, birds hung in the air. Way Big charged, fist swinging, but Eon blinked out, reappearing behind her with a slash that staggered her. She reverted, gasping, and cycled to Chromastone, absorbing his energy strikes. The fight spilled across Musafu, Eon bending time, aging buildings to dust, rewinding her attacks, while Izumi countered with alien after alien, echo sonic clones, clockwork's time beams. Her phone buzzed mid-battle, Bakugo's voice, furious. "Deku, what the hell's going on?" "We're coming." Class 1A arrived, chaos erupting as they faced Eon's temporal minions, shadowy figures darting through frozen moments. Todoroki iced their paths, Bakugo blasted through, Ochako floated Eon's weapons away. Izumi, as clockwork, synced with them, slowing Eon's movements long enough for a combined assault, Kirishima's unbreakable tackle, Momo's EMP cannon, her own chronal blast. Eon faltered, his armor cracking. "You delay the inevitable," he hissed, vanishing into a rift. Time snapped back, the city groaning as it stabilized. Izumi collapsed, reverting, her friends rushing over. "You okay, nerd?" Bakugo snapped, hauling her up. She nodded, breathless. "Yeah, but he'll be back." All Might met them at UA, his face grim. This Eon, he's no Vilgax. Time manipulation's a whole new threat. Nezu, beside him, steepled his paws. "The Omnitrix's scope keeps expanding. We need to understand it fully." Izumi clenched her fist. "Then I'll find Azmuth. He's got answers." Her search began with the Omnitrix itself. "Locate Azmuth," she commanded. It hummed, projecting coordinates, deep space, unreachable. But a faint signal pinged closer, a Galvan ship, crashed in the Pacific. With UA's blessing, she led a team, Bakugo, Todoroki, Ochako, Tsuyu, to investigate. They took a submersible, Tsuyu guiding them through the depths until they found it, a sleek wreck, half buried in the ocean floor. Inside, they met not Azmuth, but his assistant, Myax, a towering chimera sui generis with a no-nonsense glare. "You're the kid with the Omnitrix." "Figures," she grunted. "Azmuth's off-planet, dodging Vilgax and worse. Left me to clean up." Izumi pleaded, "I need to know what it can do, Eon's after it, and I can't keep guessing." Myax sighed, tapping a console. "Fine. It's a unifier, sure, but it's also a failsafe, can reset a planet's biosphere if it's corrupted." Big power, bigger risk. A rumble shook the ship, Aeon's forces, tracking her. Myax armed them with Galvan tech, sonic grenades, phase disruptors, and Izumi transformed into Upgrade, merging with the ship to fight back. The battle was underwater chaos, Bakugo's blasts muffled by the sea, Todoroki's ice-forming barriers, Ochako floating mines. Izumi, as Brainstorm, calculated Aeon's moves, frying his minions with electric bursts. Aeon appeared, time-twisting, but Myax hurled a disruptor, stalling him. Go, she yelled, shoving Izumi's team out as the ship self-destructed, taking Aeon's vanguard with it. They surfaced, gasping, the ocean calm again. He's not done, Izumi said, staring at the Omnitrix. Ochako squeezed her shoulder. Neither are we. Back at UA, she trained harder, the reset revelation burning in her mind. The Omnitrix wasn't just her strength, it was Earth's lifeline. Aeon, Vilgax, whoever came next, she'd face them, not as a lone hero, but with her team, her will, and a universe of power at her fingertips. The fight was escalating, and she'd rise to meet it. The revelation of the Omnitrix's biosphere reset function gnawed at Izumi, a quiet dread simmering beneath her determination. It wasn't just a weapon or a shield, it was a last resort, a doomsday switch she couldn't fully comprehend. Myax's words looped in her head, big power, bigger risk. She didn't tell her classmates, not yet. They'd fought beside her through aliens and time-warping tyrants, she didn't want to burden them with the idea that her wrist held the key to Earth's annihilation or salvation. UA's faculty, however, weren't so easily spared. In a closed meeting with Nezu, All Might, and Aizawa, Izumi relayed Myax's intel. Nezu's eyes glinted, paws tapping the table. A planetary reset. Fascinating, and terrifying. We'll need contingencies. Aizawa rubbed his temples. Great. More variables to babysit. All Might, gaunt but resolute, leaned forward. Young Midoriya, this changes nothing about who you are. It's your heart that'll decide how it's used, not some alien's greed. His faith steadied her, but the pressure mounted. Training became relentless. Nezu rigged simulations with escalating threats. Vilgax's drones, Aeon's time skips, even hypothetical invaders drawn from sci-fi tropes. Izumi cycled through her aliens, pushing their limits. Gravitax orbit manipulation crushed steel beams, Topic's grotesque face stunned robotic foes into shutdown. Each form honed her instincts, but the Omnitrix's deeper secret stayed locked, taunting her with its silence. Her classmates sensed the shift. During a late-night dorm hangout, Ochako cornered her in the kitchen, stirring tea. Izumi, you're hiding something. Spill it, I'm not floating away, till you do. Izumi hesitated, then sighed, whispering about the reset. Ochako's eyes widened, but she grinned. So what? You'd never use it to hurt anyone. We trust you. The words eased her guilt, and soon the others knew, Bakugo scoffing, TCH, don't screw it up, Deku, while Todoroki nodded, we'll stop it from coming to that. The next threat didn't wait for her to process. It struck during a hero work study with Endeavor, Hawks, and Class 1A shadowing in Tokyo. The sky flared purple, and a rift disgorged a new enemy, Zscair, Ghost Freak's original form, a spectral tyrant with a skull-like face and claws that dripped darkness. The Omnitrix's ectonerite DNA calls to me, he rasped, shadows spreading like ink. Free it, or I plunge your world into night. Panic erupted as Zscair's minions, ectonerite shades, swarmed, phasing through walls and possessing civilians. Izumi transformed into Ghost Freak, her own intangibility matching his, but Zscair laughed, overpowering her with raw malice. You're a shadow of me, child. She reverted, rattled, as Endeavor's flames and Hawk's feathers clashed with the shades, barely holding them back. Her team jumped in, Bakugo blasting possessed drones, Todoroki freezing shadows, Momo crafting UV cannons to repel them. Izumi switched to Snare O, bandages lashing Zscair, but he broke free, seizing her wrist. The Omnitrix sparked, and a memory, not hers, flooded in, Ghost Freak's rebellion against Azmuth, his DNA sealed as a warning. Zscair hissed, I'll take it all, forcing the watch to cycle uncontrollably, Frankenstrike, Blitzwolfer, until it locked on upgrade. Desperate, Izumi merged with a nearby generator, surging power into a blinding pulse that staggered Zscair. Her friends pressed the advantage, Kaminari overloading the grid, Ochako floating debris into a barrage, and Izumi, reverting, slammed the Omnitrix again, becoming atomics. Ha-ami na, she roared, unleashing a nuclear blast that banished Sasuke back through his rift, his screams echoing. Tokyo stood, shaken but safe. Endeavor grunted approval, Hawks tossing her a grin. Not bad, alien queen. Her classmates swarmed her, Kirishima whooping, that was hardcore. Izumi smiled, but the Omnitrix's flicker lingered in her mind. Sasuke had tapped its core, exposing a vulnerability. Back at UA, she confided in All Might. It's like it's alive, fighting me sometimes. He nodded, coughing. It's a partner, not a tool. Learn its rhythm. That night, she activated its interface, voice firm. Omnitrix, unlock your history. It hesitated, then complied, projecting Azmuth's hologram, created to heal divides, corrupted by users like Sasuke. Safeguards in place, trust required. The next blow came swiftly. A cosmic storm hit Earth, sensors screaming as a ship crashed in Hokkaido, Vilgax's, but not alone. Eon emerged beside him, their alliance sealed in mutual hunger for the Omnitrix. No more games, Vilgax snarled, as Eon warped time, aging the landscape into ruin. Izumi led Class 1A North, heart pounding. Together, she said, meeting their eyes. They nodded, Bakugo smirking, Ochako resolute. The battle was apocalyptic. Izumi's way big clashed with Vilgax, fist shaking the earth, while Eon dodged Clockwork's beams, rewinding her moves. Her team fought seamlessly, Suyu snaring Eon, Todoroki icing Vilgax's armor, Bakugo blasting both. Izumi cycled forms, feedback draining Eon's power, Gravitack pinning Vilgax, until the Omnitrix glowed, unlocking ultimate Homungosaur. Spikes erupted from her, missiles raining, and with a final roar, she drove Vilgax into Eon, their collision collapsing their rift. They vanished, defeated but not destroyed. Izumi reverted, collapsing into her friend's arms, the storm clearing. All Might limped over, grinning. You're rewriting what a hero can be. She looked at the Omnitrix, its hourglass steady. Vilgax, Eon, Sasuke, they'd keep coming. But with her team, her resolve, and a universe of strength, she'd rewrite the stars to protect her world. The alliance of Vilgax and Eon left Izumi reeling, the echoes of their defeat ringing hollow against the certainty they'd return. Hokkaido's scarred plain stood as a testament to the battle, a reminder that each victory carved deeper into her world, and her. She sat atop a hill overlooking the wreckage, the Omnitrix cool against her wrist, its silence louder than any warning. Her friends sprawled nearby, catching their breath, Bakugo kicking rocks, Ochako sketching in the dirt, Todoroki staring into the distance. They'd won, but the cost was etched in their tired eyes. Back at UA, the mood was tense. Nezu called an emergency assembly, heroes and students packing the auditorium. The Omnitrix has escalated our threats beyond terrestrial bounds, he said, voice sharp. We adapt, or we fall. Plans unfurled, global hero networks, satellite defenses, a task force keyed to Izumi's watch. She felt the weight settle heavier, a spotlight she couldn't dodge. Training morphed into war games. Aizawa pitted her against pros and peers, testing her aliens against every scenario, Endeavor's infernos, Midnight's gas, Bakugo's relentless. Barrages. She pushed back with Vampire's hypnosis, Ballweevil's explosive traps, Astrodactyl's sonic booms. Each session left her bruised but sharper, the Omnitrix's rhythm syncing with her pulse. You're not just reacting anymore, Aizawa noted, eyes glinting. Good. Her classmates evolved too. Momo engineered armor synced to Izumi's forms, reflective for chromastone, insulated for feedback. Iida calculated her speed thresholds, barking adjustments mid-drill. Ochako practiced combo moves, floating Izumi as Jetray for aerial strikes. Even Bakugo, grumbling, timed his explosions to amplify Wrath's charges. Don't think this means I like you, Deku, he'd snap, but the coordination was seamless. Nights were for the Omnitrix. She'd coax it into revealing more, holograms of Azmuth lecturing on its safeguards, snippets of its creation on Galvan Prime. Designed to preserve, not destroy, he'd said, but the reset function loomed, a shadow she couldn't shake. She confided in All Might, voice small. What if I have to use it? What if there's no other way? He coughed, then gripped her shoulder. You'll find a way. You always do. The next strike came without warning. A rift tore open over the Pacific, spitting out a fleet unlike any before, organic, pulsing, led by a figure in a bone-white exosuit, Highbreed, a towering supremacist with eyes like cold fire. Your planet's diversity is a disease, he declared, voice booming across airwaves. The Omnitrix fuels it. We'll purge both. Vines and drones swarmed coastal cities, choking life with ruthless efficiency. Izumi mobilized with Class 1A and the pros, transforming into swampfire to burn through the vines, methane blasts lighting the night. Highbreed countered, his strength dwarfing hers, roots snapping her back. She switched, Spider-Monkey's webs, Gutrit's gas, but he adapted, drones shielding him. Her team fought fiercely, Bakugo's explosions shredding vines, Todoroki's ice-slowing drones, Ochako floating Highbreed's weapons skyward, but the enemy pressed on, relentless. Highbreed seized her, crushing the Omnitrix against her wrist. A flawed tool in frail hands, he sneered. Pain flared, but she gritted her teeth, cycling to nanomech. Shrinking to microscopic size, she infiltrated his suit, shorting its circuits with pinpoint blasts. He roared, flailing, and she reverted to Homungosaur, smashing him into the sea. Her friends finished it, Hiroshima's unbreakable fists, Momo's acid bombs, driving the fleet back through the rift. Exhausted, Izumi slumped on the shore, waves lapping at her feet. Highbreed's words stung, flawed tool. Was she enough? Ochako sat beside her, quiet. You saved us again. Stop doubting. Izumi managed a smile, but the Omnitrix beeped, a new hologram flickering, Azmuth, urgent. Highbreed's just the start. The Omnitrix's signals gone galactic. Brace yourself. Days later, a new anomaly hit. Sensors screamed as a wormhole opened near Saturn, disgorging Agregor, an Osmosian warlord with a jagged spear. I'll absorb it all, he growled, landing in Musafu, his touch draining energy from everything, streetlights dimming, heroes weakening. Izumi faced him as Armadillo, drilling through his barriers, but Agregor absorbed her seismic waves, growing stronger. Her team rallied, Denki overloading him, Todoroki freezing his spear, Bakugo blasting his footing, but Agregor adapted, siphoning their quirks into himself. Izumi cycled to Ultimate Echo, sonic discs overwhelming him, then Jetrate to outpace his grabs. In a final gambit, she became Alien X, reality bending as she stripped his absorbed power, hurling him back through the wormhole. The city cheered, but Izumi collapsed, reverting, her vision swimming. All Might caught her, voice soft. You're carrying the universe, kid. Don't break. She nodded, clinging to the Omnitrix. Highbreed, Agregor, Vilgax, Eon, they kept coming, each testing her limits. But with her friend's strength, her unyielding spirit, and a watch that defied the stars, she'd stand. The galaxy was awake, and she'd meet its gaze, unblinking. The relentless onslaught of Agregor marked a turning point for Izumi. The Omnitrix wasn't just a beacon anymore, it was a clarion call, summoning threats from every corner of the cosmos. She felt it in her bones, a weariness that no amount of determination could fully shake. Yet, as she stood among the ruins of Musafu's latest battlefield, her friends' voices cutting through the smoke, Bakugo's gruff taunts, Ochako's gentle encouragement, Todoroki's quiet resolve, she knew she couldn't falter. Not yet. UA became a war room. Nezu's task force expanded, pulling in global heroes, Mirko from Japan, Captain Celebrity from the States, even a grizzled veteran from Russia with a quirk like living steel. They drilled around Izumi, her aliens the linchpin of every strategy. She trained until her muscles screamed, mastering forms like Kick and Hawk's agility, mole stashes burrowing, pesky dusts dream-weaving. The Omnitrix hummed with each shift, a partner she was learning to trust, even as its mysteries deepened. Her classmates matched her pace. Momo's gadgets grew bolder, drones synced to Izumi's transformations, shields for ultimate forms. Iida and Tsuyu scouted alien weaknesses, their precision uncanny. Bakugo, ever the wildcard, devised combo attacks, his explosions boosting heat blasts flames, rattling foes into submission. Don't drag me down, Deku, he'd growl, but his eyes burned with a fire that mirrored hers. The final storm brewed silently. It began with static across every device on Earth, a low hum that built into a roar. The sky split, not with ships, but with a single figure, Azmuth, descending in a Galvan craft, his tiny form radiating urgency. "You've stirred the hive, girl," he snapped, landing before UA. The Omnitrix's signals breached the High Council's notice. They're coming to reclaim it. Izumi's heart sank. The High Council. Azmuth's goggles glinted. Galactic overseers. They see your world as a liability, too chaotic, too fragile. They'll strip the Omnitrix and sterilize Earth to contain the threat. Horror gripped her, but she squared her shoulders. I won't let them. The council arrived at dawn, a trio of beings in shimmering robes, their forms shifting between states, solid, liquid, gas. Their leader, a voice like a chorus, declared, the Omnitrix was never meant for this backwater. Surrender it, or we unmake your planet. Vilgax, Eon, Highbreed, Agregor, they'd been pawns, chasing power, but this was judgment. Izumi faced them, Class 1A at her back, heroes fanning out. This isn't just a tool, it's my promise to protect. You'll have to take it from me. The council attacked, reality warping, time accelerating, gravity crushing, matter dissolving. Izumi transformed into Alien X, her celestial might clashing with theirs, bending existence to shield her world. Her friends fought too, Bakugo's blasts defying physics, Todoroki's ice anchoring space, Ochako nullifying their distortions. The battle raged across dimensions, Izumi cycling forms, Ultimate Way Big toppling their constructs, Clockwork rewinding their assaults, Nanomech infiltrating their essence. Azmuth joined, his craft zapping inhibitors, shouting, "You're proving them wrong, kid." Her team's unity shone, Hiroshima tanking blows, Momo's weapons piercing, All Might's final smash breaking their line. Exhausted, Izumi stood as human, the council faltering. Your chaos, its strength, their leader conceded, retreating into the void. The sky cleared, Earth intact. Azmuth landed, smirking. You've earned it. Keep it safe. He vanished, leaving her with the Omnitrix, and her world. She collapsed, her friends catching her. Bakugo muttered, not bad, nerd. Ochako hugged her tight, tears shining. All Might grinned, frail but proud. You're the hero Earth needed, young Midoriya. Izumi looked at the watch, its glow warm. The threats might return, Vilgax, Eon, others, but she'd face them with her team, her heart, and a universe of power. That's it for today, hope you liked this fanfiction. Don't forget to like, sub, and share for more fanfic content. Until then, have a great day.